There was a beautiful girl named Brandy. You would think she was the most popular girl in town because of her beauty. However, she was quiet and introverted student who always kept to herself. She never really spoke to anyone and had no friends. From the looks of it, she looked like a well-mannered girl that was trying to do the right thing. But Brandy had a secret that nobody knew about. She was just waiting for the right person to come along. She would have an obsessive personality about males sometimes, and didn't know what to think of it. She was considered a Yandere. For those who don't know, a Yandere is a character who is sweet and innocent on the outside, but on the inside, they are completely obsessed with someone to the point where they might become dangerously possessive or violent. Brandy's obsession was with a boy named Michael. Michael was a popular guy in school. He was outgoing, friendly, and always had a smile on his face. He was the complete opposite of Brandy, but she couldn't help but fall in love with him. She would often watch him from a distance, admiring his every move. She loved the way he laughed, the way he talked, the way he walked. She loved everything about him, but had not even said a word to him. He had no idea who she was. They had never talked at all or interacted. They had never even bumped into each other on accident. Why was Brandy so obsessed with Michael? Brandy's love for Michael soon turned into an obsession. She started stalking him, following him everywhere he went. He would never see her. She was always there. She would often hide behind corners, watching him as he walked by. She would take pictures of him on her phone without his knowledge, and even would collect his discarded items, like used tissues or his hair. She created a Pinterest, YouTube channel, TikTok, and Twitter that was dedicated to Michael and her love for him. She did not have many followers that she knew, but mostly complete strangers. She would talk about what Michael was doing in the videos and pretended she was his girlfriend. Most viewers thought she was actually his girlfriend and gave comments that were supportive of their fake relationship. The disturbing thing is that viewers of the stalking content did not report the content, but liked and followed it immensely. Finally, one day, Michael saw Brandy in the corner of his eye. He saw her on her phone behind a corner taking a video of him. He went directly up to her and asked her what she was doing. She was so shocked and scared, she did not know what to say. He asked if she was recording him. She said nothing. He was creeped out by her behavior and asked her to stop. Brandy was heartbroken. She couldn't believe that Michael would reject her. She thought that they were meant to be together, forever. She had dedicated her life to him and had so many hopes and dreams with him that would never happen now. From that day on, Brandy's obsession with Michael became more intense. She would leave love letters on his locker, write his name in her notebooks, and even made a shrine dedicated to him in her room. She would often take to a doll that she made in his likeness, pretending that he was there with her. Michael began to notice that Brandy's behavior was becoming more and more bizarre. He became afraid of her and started to avoid her at all costs. But Brandy couldn't take the rejection. She was determined to have Michael all to herself, even if it meant hurting him or hurting anyone who got in her way. One late night, Michael came home to his house. His parents were not home, on a date or something. He took off his jacket and walked towards the closet to hang it up. As he opened the door, Brandy lunged a kitchen knife right into his left chest. He pulled it out and started fighting for his life. Michael fought back, trying to defend himself from Brandy's vicious knife swings. But Brandy was too strong. She was too fueled by her love for Michael and was determined to make him pay, no matter what the cost. The struggle continued as it was noticed by some people walking their dog outside. They could see the attack through the window, but thought Michael was attacking Brandy. They called the police immediately. The police arrived and they found Michael lying on the floor, covered in blood, and Brandy standing over him with a knife in her hand. Brandy was arrested and charged with attempted murder. She was sent to a mental rehabilitation clinic on Shutter Island, where she still resides to this day. Her obsession with Michael never faded, even after all these years. She has thousands of drawings of Michael on her walls in her room. She still talks to the doll she made in his likeness, and she still has dreams of the day when they can be together, forever. Watch your back and know your surroundings. You may have an interested person watching your every move. There was a girl named Olivia who was deeply in love with a boy named Noah. She was so in love that it consumed her every thought and action. She would follow him everywhere, taking pictures of him when he wasn't looking, and sneaking into his room to watch him sleep. Noah was unaware of Olivia's obsessive behavior and thought she was just a friendly classmate. However, her obsession grew stronger every day, and she started to see anyone who got close to Noah as a threat. She would lash out at other girls who spoke to him, and would become violent towards any female she thought was getting too close to him. One day, Noah had a new girlfriend named Ayumi. Olivia was livid and felt betrayed. She could not let this be allowed. Noah was hers. She decided to do something about it. She started stalking Ayumi, following her around during her daily activities. Olivia found out where Ayumi lived and devised a plan to take her out. One night, Olivia snuck into Ayumi's house and watched her sleep for a while. While she was standing there watching Ayumi sleep peacefully, she thought, how can Noah like this girl? She isn't even pretty. I'm pretty, not her. I hate her. She doesn't deserve to live. Olivia grabbed a pillow and put it on Ayumi's face. She held it as hard as she could. Olivia was awakened by her sudden lack of oxygen and struggled to escape the situation. Olivia was too powerful, and Ayumi did not stand a chance. Ayumi died by Olivia's hands and would never see Noah again. Noah was devastated by the loss of Ayumi and didn't know what to do. Olivia saw this as an opportunity to comfort him and show him that she was the only one that truly loved him. She approached Noah and expressed her condolences for his loss. He was happy about her concern and gave his thanks to her. She was so excited. He really liked her. They became closer over time, and Noah had no idea that Olivia was the one that murdered his girlfriend. They started hanging out often. At first, Noah was really happy to spend time with Olivia. She was so kind to him and helped him with whatever was troubling him. She was very beautiful as well, and he was very attracted to her. However, he had not made any moves yet because he was still grieving over the loss of his girlfriend. This irritated Olivia, who was growing impatient. Olivia's obsession grew even stronger. She would call Noah all the time. At first, he was happy to talk to her. Over time, though, he realized that there was something going on with Olivia. She would call almost constantly. If he did not answer, she would send him a lot of text messages. Noah liked the attention he was getting from Olivia, but this was going overboard. When he asked her to stop sending so many messages, she would just respond, I was concerned about you and wanted to make sure you were okay. It is hard to make someone that cares about you stop trying to help you. But where's the line? How many missed calls and text messages is too much? The number of text messages that were expressing concerns was pushing to 50 each time Noah did not answer for a while. This happened when he was in class, at the gym, or sleeping. Noah was getting tired of giving Olivia a break. After a while, she started to become more and more violent. She would lash out at anyone who she thought was getting in the way of her and Noah. She even started to hurt Noah himself. At that time, he started to see some major problems with Olivia. He decided to confront her and break the whole thing off. He appreciated her concern and was happy she helped him through a rough time in his life. But he had to move on. They were not going to be together or even friends anymore. Olivia did not take the news well. When she went home, her cat came to her for a daily dose of affection. Olivia pet her cat with love and affection. Suddenly, she squeezed her cat until it struggled to breathe. She had killed her cat, her best friend, because of a boy. One day, Olivia's obsession reached a breaking point. Noah found a new girlfriend, and Olivia couldn't handle it. She followed them on a date to a restaurant. They got a table outside and ordered a fancy meal they would enjoy together. Noah really liked the new girl and was determined to make a good impression. They had such a great time throughout the course meal and were holding hands lovingly. The dessert came out and they were feeding each other with some sensual stares and strong affection. Olivia appeared suddenly in the outside dining area and took out a butcher knife. She attacked the girl, leaving her badly injured. After stabbing the girl multiple times, she ran away. It was so quick that Noah had no time to react to stop it from happening. Noah saw what Olivia had done and was terrified. He used a towel to create a tourniquet and was able to stop the bleeding on his date. He called the police. Olivia was arrested for the attack and sent to the county jail. Noah tried to move on with his life, but he couldn't shake the feeling that Olivia was still watching him. He would look over his shoulder constantly and was always on edge. As the years went by, the terrible events slightly faded, and Noah was able to relax a little bit. Olivia was detained, and he did not have to live in fear forever. He was tired of looking at every person and any place that he went, looking for Olivia to appear with a butcher knife to finish him off. One night, Noah was walking home from a late shift at work when he saw Olivia waiting for him outside of his apartment building. He tried to run, but she caught up to him and tackled him to the ground. She whispered in his ear, they were meant to be together forever, and pulled out a knife. Noah struggled against Olivia, but he couldn't break free. She plunged a knife into his heart, killing him instantly. Olivia smiled as she watched Noah take his last breath, believing that they were finally together forever. The police found Noah's body the next morning and began to investigate the case. They discovered that Olivia had escaped from the local penitentiary and had been on the run for weeks. They launched a manhunt for her, but she was never found. Just remember, once you have a stalker, you always have a stalker. If they're being detained, it's only a matter of time before they come and find you. It was just another day at school for Mark, a high school senior, who spent most of his time playing video games and hanging out with his friends. He was a popular kid, but he never cared about being famous or being in the spotlight. All he wanted was to pass his final exams and get into a good college. Little did he know that his life was about to take a drastic turn, thanks to a girl in his class named Catherine. Catherine was a quiet and reserved girl who never spoke to anyone in class except for Mark. She had been secretly in love with him for years, but Mark had never noticed throughout their long friendship. Catherine had never indicated to Mark that she was in love with him, and behaved as a friend would. Mark was under the impression that their friendship was really strong. He could always reach out to her for advice. She would always come over and hang out and talk to Mark if he asked her to do so. She really was the best friend Mark ever had. One day, Mark came to school and found a note on his locker. A note was from Catherine. It said, "Meet me after school at the park." Mark didn't know what to make of it, but he decided to go anyways, thinking that Catherine just wanted to do something fun. When Mark arrived at the park, he found Catherine waiting for him. She looked nervous and fidgety, and she was carrying a large backpack. Mark asked her what was in the backpack, but Catherine just smiled and said, "Don't worry about it. I just want to spend some time alone with you." Mark and Catherine spent the afternoon together, talking about their favorite books, movies, and video games. Just as the sun began to set, Catherine's behavior started to become more and more strange. She kept staring at Mark with an intense look in her eyes, and she wouldn't let him leave the park. When Mark tried to get up and go home, Catherine grabbed him by the arm and said, "Please don't go, Mark. I love you so much. I can't live without you." Mark started to feel scared, and he tried to break free from Catherine's grasp. But Catherine was surprisingly strong, and she wouldn't let go. She started to cry, and Mark felt bad for her. He didn't want to hurt her feelings, but he knew he had to get away. As he turned to leave, he heard a loud thud behind him. When he looked back, he saw Catherine lying on the ground, her backpack open beside her. Mark walked over to her and saw that she had a large kitchen knife in her hand. She had stabbed herself in the stomach, and blood was pouring out of her wound. Mark called 911, and Catherine was rushed to the hospital. She survived, but she was never the same again. She became more obsessed with Mark than ever before, and she started to stalk him wherever he went. She would show up to his house uninvited, send him hundreds of text messages, and even leave love letters in his locker. Mark didn't know what to do. He was scared for his life, and he didn't know how to make Catherine stop. He tried talking to her, telling her that he didn't feel the same way, but she wouldn't listen. She was convinced that Mark was the only one for her, and she would stop at nothing to make him hers. One day, Mark came home from school and found Catherine waiting for him in his room. She had broken into his house and she was sitting on his bed, wearing a white wedding dress. Mark was terrified, but he decided to hear what she had to say. Catherine told Mark that she was feeling extremely obsessed with him and couldn't stop thinking about him. She apologized to him for stabbing herself. She asked him if he could ever forgive her. Saying that she was going through a terrible situation where she was determined to be self-destructive, Mark lost his sense of fear and grabbed her hand. He looked into her eyes and said, "We will get through this together." She cried uncontrollably. Mark took a chance on Catherine, his best friend for a long time. She was always good to him. She deserved a chance in life. 13 years later, we are still married. We have 2 children, 1 boy, 1 girl. Catherine had some personal trauma earlier in her life that caused her to act out in some scary ways. She had never told me about it, and I never knew. I didn't know she would be the best and most genuine person that I would ever have met. It turns out that she was not a Yandere, but she just needed a partner to help her get better. I've been that partner for her. Sometimes Catherine can revert to some of her stalkerish, obsessive ways. I am her medicine, though. Once I comfort her, she instantly feels better, and her obsessions fade. I am okay with having someone obsess over me. Being with her is the best decision I ever made. Sometimes stalkers can seem terrifying. There's somebody out there for everyone. It could be a stalker, it could be a normal relationship. But I have a feeling that Catherine will never leave Mark. Hey, Spooky Sooner here. This is the last story I will be posting for a while. I will be gone until the end of April. So, enjoy the stories that I already have. If you haven't heard all of them, take a look at those. I will probably post a compilation video on my way out, but I will be leaving soon. I appreciate the support, and while I'm gone, I will be writing some new stories, so I'll have some fresh new stuff when I get back. Take care, watch your back, and make sure your relationships are good. Michael began to notice that Brandy's behavior was coming. Michael began. Noah was unaware of Olivia's and would become violent towards any male and to show him that she was not the only one who truly loved him. Her